Lamella, lovely cushion header. But Gerrard! Oh, you beauty! What a head, son! What a head!
All right, welcome to the Aussie Red Show, first episode. How exciting. We've been wanting to do this for a very long time. So Andrew and I have been diehard Liverpool fans since we were kids in the 90s in Australia, which was always very tough. So, yeah, Andrew, you can further elaborate on that when we were in school. But, yeah, look, welcome. This is just a loose cuff. Again, first episode, we're going to be talking about the Charity Shield. Obviously, that just was played on the weekend. The upcoming game against Fulham for the opening game of the season. A couple of key points in terms of Darwin Núñez, and maybe we'll touch on good old Erling Haaland and his great miss that happened at the weekend, maybe. But we'll try not to stick too much to that. But yeah, should we
do intros, Darren?
We should do intros. So my name's Darren. I've been a diehard Liverpool fan my whole life. My father is a Scouser, so that was, one of two options. It was Liverpool, or you wouldn't go blue anyway. But So he migrated to Australia when he was a kid. Grew up. Obviously instilled it in me, and that's where I met Andrew, probably during the 90s, when I swear to God, we were probably the only two Liverpool fans in our school, in our area, in our suburb during that time, because everyone was Manchester United fan growing up. But Andrew, you can talk a bit about your story.
Yeah. Thanks, Darren. Appreciate the intro. So I became a Liverpool fan 25 years ago, and I shit you not, it was because I was still living in Newcastle at the time, and I remember on the TV, it was SBS. It was the Sunday afternoon show, and they were showing Liverpool clips of Ian Rush. And if Ian Rush was wearing godforsaken Manchester City shirt, or a Chelsea shirt, or an Arsenal shirt, I probably wouldn't be a Liverpool fan, because I sort of
lucky for you.
I fell in love with the Ian Rush, and then I fell in love by association to Liverpool Football Club, and it's been a really difficult 25 years because we sort of started following them just after that last First Division before the Premier League.
Oh, yeah, and that was really tough. Like for us, especially here in Australia during the 90s, when every Tom, Dick and Harry was a Manchester United fan, and we're we had, because and I was talking about Ian Rush. I met Ian Rush when I was younger. He came to Australia and did a soccer clinic in the 90s, which was awesome. I got photos of him before his hair was grey. So, because you look at him now, that's right. But that was.
I reckon that should
sorry, go for it. Yep.
That should be the thumbnail of this podcast. You and Ian Rush.
Yes, Ian Rush. Yeah, and he was Ian Rushy. What a gentleman of and I'm with you. He was probably my first. Because when I was younger, as you typical, you play striker when and then my dad had shown me clips of Ian Rush. We'd have Ian Rush's top 100 goals on an old VHS tape that I religiously watched, and then I met him, and then. But just touching back on that, it was pretty rough growing up as Liverpool. Not that I gave a shit. I didn't care what anyone thought. I mean, Liverpool could be in the Championship or back then in the First Division or in the Second Division. I wouldn't care. I'd still go for him. But just having that brutal atmosphere of, because Manchester United dominated the Premier League during that era. There was and technically, that where we grew up, there's obviously a lot of sheepish culture. Oh, Manchester United. You know what I mean? So we got brutalised, but I didn't care. I would have fought every day of the week, which kind of happened. But
mate, Liverpool could have ended up in the conference, and I would still be following them because
exactly. You
don't give up on your football club, mate. And it was hard growing up when my brother was a hardcore Manchester United fan, and we hardly. We hardly ever, the funny thing was, we'll beat Manchester United in the league, but we'll still finish 8th, and they'll still win the season.
That was such it's always, there's two, I used to, I guess when you had the old, I say old now, God, I feel old when I say, the Mourinho Chelsea era, right? That's not even really old, but it is in a way. You think back.
It is old.
Yeah, it's like 15.
It's 18 years, 15, 18, yeah.
Oh, my God, man, that's just... And you think about that and you think, back then I would have said Chelsea was one of the teams that I had to play. I always hated, Manchester United is that one club, that one team that I like any Liverpool fan looks at the fixture list and goes, when are we playing these bastards? We hate them for our own reasons too, because of the way we explain how we grew up as a kid in the 90s.
Yes. United was so bad under Solskjaer, it even robbed us from hating them. They were that bad. I
still hated them. I never felt sorry for them. I really, really like.
Oh, they were rubbish under Solskjaer.
Oh yeah, and they're still rubbish. I mean, I reckon they're still going to be crap. I mean, they're still. Oh, that's just my opinion. Maybe it's just because my hatred just comes clear, and I just hate them so much that I really hope that they crash and burn under their new manager. I don't know. I'm just speaking out of school. I look at him and I think, are you the man that's going to continue this freaking torrid run? Because I hope so. Yeah, I really do. I know it's not good with bad opponent, but yeah. And then of course, you got Everton. I just hate the bitterness.
Is Frank Lampard still the manager? Yeah.
Here we go to talk about Everton. They are in some serious trouble this season.
And I don't think Frank Lampard is turning it around.
They are in some serious. He should just get up and walk now. Before I don't know. Not that he's got any kind of managing integrity at the moment. I guess. I mean,
no.
Me. I mean, I can't. It's hard to say, but. Look, I know friendlies don't mean shit, right? Because Manchester United are still carrying on about their Lego Cup they won in Bangkok, right? But they lost 4-0 to, a Major League Soccer team. Okay, fair enough, 4-0, right? It's pretty rough to a team like that. Probably half of them probably work in their mum and dad's freaking grocery stores or something. I don't know. But even when they only just survived relegation, but now they've lost Richarlison, who I don't even think is a good player anyway, but he was probably one of their only. I mean, you got who is it? Who's it? I'm shocking with names, so you're gonna have to bear with me. He's their other striker. He always scores the headers. He's got a. Calvert Lewin. Calvert Lewin. That's right.
Yeah.
So you get Richarlison, who went to Tottenham. I think, and the weirdest thing is, you heard this guy say, "Oh, he'll score. He could contend for Golden Boot." I don't know where I heard that or seen that, but I did see that. Richarlison really, like, the guy runs in a straight line and hopes that, like, anyway.
Look, I didn't mind Richarlison, but yeah, they lost him.
I think he's crap. Richarlison, I love it when he's got the ball, and he's sometimes you look at him, he looks fucking clueless when he's on the field, to be honest.
Yeah, see, I mean, for me, when Tottenham picked him up, I didn't think it was a terrible purchase. I think it's going to be interesting when he plays up front with Son and Kane. Obviously, he's playing around better players, and
I could eat my words here, but I'm happy to eat my. If he ends up being good for Tottenham, that's great. As long as he's good for Tottenham and not fucking Everton.
Well, he's clearly not going to be good for Everton. But let's
move on from the opposition now. Yeah.
Let's talk about the Charity Shield. What for me? Did you watch all the game? Because I only really watched the last half an hour.
No, I watched it. It was 2:00 in the morning here, and as you know, Andrew, a house full of kids. You have to sometimes prioritise sleep. I got up early in the morning and I watched the replay, and I thought we were absolutely outstanding, and especially in that first kind of 30 minutes.
Well, you could talk about the first half. Yeah. Apparently, it was really, really good.
Yeah, first half was great. Salah was on fire. He was he come on. Trent down the flank. Trent down one flank. Robbo down the other. Luis Diaz, he puts a shift in every time he comes in. He's always running around like a mad hairy goat. He's always running. I love a player like Diaz. Like, he kind of when we had Suarez. Not comparing them, saying that, but what I'm trying to say is that they just had that energy level where they just didn't stop. There was no laziness about them. They just kept running.
Yeah.
And we just completely. Honestly, the first 30 minutes of that game, I thought, are we actually playing City or are we playing some other team? Because City were just out of it. They were gone. That first 30 minutes when we scored that first goal, the only thing, the problem was when we did score that first goal, we seemed to back off, which shits me when we do that. We score a goal, we just let them. I understand, and the way Klopp plays, you can't always do that pressing game the whole game.
He's been pretty successful at doing it for most of the game.
He has, and I guess they're just coming back off, a pre-season tour as well, you know what I mean? So,
and that makes it officially he's won. I mean, I think there was like Europa. There's a few meaningless cups, but he's pretty much he's won all the major cup competitions.
Yes,
since he's won them all. And we're going to talk about where I'm prioritising this season. I've told you, but I'll state it live. But specifically for the Charity Shield, you could probably definitely speak to it more. But I am liking the gegenpress. I definitely really enjoy when Van Dijk's long diagonal balls when he's under pressure, and the team starts to trying to press against us or press on us. And we're doing these Van Dijk cross the field diagonal balls. Thanks, I was losing my train of thought there. Over to Alexander-Arnold or down to Salah. I'm thinking a lot of goals coming this year from. I think the biggest mistake playing against us is trying to attack Van Dijk, because I think he's got this amazing long balls, man. I think they were underrated last season, personally. But
and like what a defender. Like I know that he's like people like he's
better than Rio Ferdinand.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I could be biasness maybe. I don't know, but Rio, he was good. Let's see. I guess maybe my emotions are taking control of this one. I'm not too sure because I hate Rio. I just think I just think when he talks, when he's a pundit and he starts talking shit, I just think, shut up. I mean, I know I'm freaking Dazza from Australia. I don't, he's obviously knowledgeable, and he had a great career. I'm not gonna deny that. Like he was a good defender. I don't like him, but back to the fact. Yeah, I do. I think Van Dijk is a far better defender than what Rio was.
Yeah. And I think it would be. Kanate, I mean, I want Gomez to really be pushing Kanate for the place, because I still think Kanate is a bit raw, but Gomez has just been so out of form. Who do you see like this season being Van Dijk's defensive partner?
I mean, can you go past Matip? I really think like when he plays the ball from the back, I think he plays a massive. There's some games where
Matip is better than Van Dijk. Sometimes Van Dijk has these shockers.
He might have a shocking ball game, Van Dijk, but he might. But at the end of the day, like he's not gonna stop everything. The guy's not Superman. I mean, he's not far off it, but he's. But Matip, like he's such an integral part. Like a lot of people don't realize how much Matip does at the back. And not only just that, but when he gets that ball and he moves forward with the ball. And he creates space for that midfield.
Yeah, But I think that's because when he's going through dribbling through.
Yes.
I think it's because every team just backs off him, trying to. It's not that I think he's so good at dribbling. For me,
he's no Messi. Put it that way.
like he's got this little Gumby little gliding sort of. But I think it's just, I just think that is like. All the players are just standing off him. You know what I mean? They're not trying to, and I think they're going to wake up to that, because once they go, hang on, this guy can go through like 4 players and do some through ball to like Nunes, and Nunes scores goals. It's just that I think that people underestimate and think, oh well, it's just Matip. Like we won't close him down, and then before you realise, the guys at the end of the 18-yard box ready for the perfect through ball for Nunes. So I think this year it's going to.
And it could you could be right, and it could change. But guess what that does? They close down Matip, and all of a sudden they're closing down a central defender. And
that's exactly.
That opens up more space somewhere else on the pitch. So
exactly.
It's great to see that we have got a bit of depth in the squad this year too, including obviously, because it wasn't the year we just had the season before where we finished 4th and we just had a torrid run of injuries. You know what I mean? So, don't get me wrong. Just because we've got depth in the back, I wouldn't want to see Van Dijk or Robbo or Trent go out. Because, but in saying that, it is nice to know that we've got some depth, especially when it comes to, your Champions League games and your cup games that are going to be coming up during the season. And you really.
I still think.
Sorry, mate. Go for it. You're right.
No, I was just going to say that I still think that I wish we had Mane, just a bit more competition out wide. That would have been really, really awesome. But I am worried because if Salah or Diaz gets injured, Who plays out wide?
Well, that is true. There is a little bit of a. I know you got. That's probably a valid.
Jota. That would be Jota. But so for me, we have Jota, Firmino, Nunes going for one place in the middle.
One central striking position.
One central.
Salah and Diaz on the.
I think Klopp would push Carvalho and Elliott probably up wider.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think that's what he
just to touch on that. I'm really excited to see Elliott come back this year with a
hopefully. Yeah, he was on fire, that kid, before he got injured.
Mate, last season at the beginning, like the first couple of games of the season, when he was even starting games, and I was devastated when he got injured. I'm like,
is he a Scouse?
No,
is he a Scouser?
Apparently, he's been a guy. No, he's not. I think I'm not exactly sure where he's from, but I know he's not a Scouser. But he's apparently he's gone for Liverpool his whole life. There's pictures of him on the internet with a Liverpool shirt on. I mean, who knows how legit that is? But apparently he's been a Liverpool fan for a long time. So, but
I think the goals were pretty good, except for obviously the penalty. But I mean, I didn't think
it was a penalty. What do you think it wasn't, or
only because as long as we be consistent with it, though. So if that's a penalty, because he wasn't sort of, I mean, was it natural hand position? Did it hit his hand? Of course it did.
It hit his arm, and I mean,
but was the arm up, or was it sort of in a natural position?
It was away from his body. Like there's no
that's fine, but the ref's got to be consistent.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the problem with this whole VAR, and it's never consistent. There's so many dodgy calls that happen. You think, come on, how can you pull that when that happened last week?
I know. Yeah.
And look, to be fair, City's goal was a definite goal. There was no offside.
Yeah.
It was a good decision. It was a fine decision. It should have been a goal. I think it was Adrian should have had better control of it. That's for sure.
If it was Alisson, it would have been 3. We would have won 3-0.
Yeah, correct. You can't kind of like give slack keeper unless it's Karius. I mean, we all remember that Champions League final.
There's some things I want out of my mind, mate.
You wouldn't trust him with your newborn baby, would you?
Definitely not, man. So what did you think of? So tell me, man, what do you think after that Charity Shield win? Because we better hurry this up. But the win was fantastic. What I don't understand is all this hate that was coming from, I don't care if it's coming from outside the Liverpool fan community, because for me, if you're not a Liverpool fan and you're just hating on the club, it doesn't mean anything. It's like us hating on United. United doesn't take that seriously. They don't give a shit. They expect us to do it.
They don't care. They don't give a shit.
But what I don't understand is it was like a massive uproar against Nunes because he played one bad game, and from the Liverpool fans, there was a massive Liverpool uproar.
I didn't know the Liverpool fans were on him. I thought it was. You might have seen. I think. You just got everyone obviously you got people around even your city now. They're rapidly becoming a team that I hate a lot now as well.
Is it because of the money, or is it because it's just?
Yeah, not yes and no. They weren't fucking nowhere years ago. I mean,
yeah, I know.
Does anyone
Ferguson?
Ask a City fan, do they remember Polo One Shop?
or Willow Flood? Remember Willow Flood?
Far out, you know what I mean?
Kick Ladsy.
Would they even know?
No.
But they don't, you know. No. Is it the money? Yes and no. I mean, they've come from nothing.
Ferguson put his life on it that they wouldn't win a Premier League in his lifetime, but they wouldn't have if it wasn't for the money.
Here's another flog too. No. It's that, and they fit the reason why I touched on the city is because talking about the whole Nunes thing and where the hatred's been coming from. I guess a lot of it does stem from the price tag too. Everyone's just expecting him to come and start smacking in 3 goals a game.
His price tag is going to obviously the only criticism, and I done a podcast on It's Andy G on my personal channel before this one, Darren, and I want to be consistent. Yes. What I didn't want to see, right? What I didn't want to see is Liverpool going from winning the Premier League and having an established squad to now having to go back into that rebuilding phase. That was the only. That's the only sort of. We lost Wijnaldum. We lost Mane. We've lost Coutinho's. We've always lost the established players. We brought players in. We've rebuilt it really well under Klopp, no question. The only problem, I love. I've got nothing against the Núñez sale, but the only thing is to replace someone like a Mane. I knew all that's going to happen is everyone's going to be like, why isn't Núñez scoring the same amount of goals? He might. But the rule was he's not a Mane. He's not going to contribute enough goals. I'm like, hang on, it's the guy's first season. But as I was writing that, I was thinking, I just didn't want us to go back to. I know this guy's going to be a gun. I trust Klopp. There's no question, right? If he could sign, he could sign you, and I would still believe that he knows what he's doing, right?
I'll send him my resume to Klopp this week.
So it was just I didn't want us to go back to crap. We're signing the young players again. We got Cavallo, we got Núñez, we got the Elliots, which we didn't sign, but you know what I mean. We got Calvin Ramsey, which I haven't seen yet. We signed up this amazingly young talent, but I just didn't want to push us into. So does that mean we can't compete this year because we don't have the ready-made? Like I think Suarez has been my favourite player in the last 20, like since Rush, Suarez and Gerrard. But as a striker, for me, I just love Suarez. I think this guy can be better than Suarez? Yeah, possibly. I hope so. Right? It's got that same. I just don't want us to go. I just didn't want us to go back to rebuild phase.
Yeah, I don't think we have. I really don't think we have. We lost Mane. Which I don't get me wrong, in my opinion, is a huge loss. Losing Mane, I think. I really do. And Núñez again coming. I mean, you still got Salah, and then you got Diaz down the flank, and it's probably going to take a few games for all three of them to kind of click and get a good gel happening. I think. So, which leads me into the weekend's game against Fulham, right? So, what prediction? This weekend's game against Fulham, opening game of the season at Craven Cottage too. So, away game, champions of the championship coming up.
I think it's going to be, for me, it's going to be because Adrian's in goal. I think we're going to concede one.
Yep.
Right, and I don't think I can see a 2-1. We're going to win, but 2-1.
Yep. Scorers.
I do believe it'll be. I reckon it's going to be Salah, and young Cavallo.
Yeah, very good against his old club, eh?
Yeah, I think he's got. I can see him putting something. I can see a 1-1 and this young kid coming and like popping a 6-yard goal or something.
You reckon he'll take his shirt off and run past the Fulham fans?
It'd be a worthy yellow card.
Yeah, it would be. Just like the Euro women's team where she took off her shirt right at the end there.
Fair enough.
Dive into that avenue of things. But yeah, so my prediction, 2-0, I think. Despite Adrian being goal, I still think we're going to keep a clean sheet. I can see us getting an early goal, but not getting that second till really late on. So so I'm going to go Salah. And I'm going to go off the field. I'm going to go say I haven't checked the starting line. Fabinho. I'm going to go for someone from the midfield because we scored so many goals from midfield last year. I'm going to go off the cuff.
Did you want to before we go? Did you want to give your prediction for the first 11, the starting lineup?
Yeah. So is Klopp going to run straight out and put Núñez straight up front? Or okay, I'm going to go. I think he's going to stick to something similar to what he did at City. So I'm still uncertain whether or not Núñez is going to start. I think people are going to expect
he won't start.
I don't think he will start, right?
No.
So I think he'll come in off the bench again. I reckon it's going to be a very similar lineup, maybe with a change in midfield. I can't remember the lineup from the game on the weekend now, actually. It
was Firmino, Diaz, and Salah up front.
That's right, Firmino, and then in the midfield we had Hendo,
Thiago, Fabinho.
Yeah, so I don't think there's going to be any changes to the starting lineup to City, unless that's just my opinion. Yeah, and that's what
I think. Yeah, I agree with you. Knowing Klopp doesn't rock the boat. He likes, look at Fabinho. He introduced Fabinho after what? Like it was like 5-6 games. Where everyone's like, why isn't he playing? Why isn't he starting? It's like, relax, guys. We got to.
Yeah, even despite the injuries Thiago had, like he still was slightly introduced. So.
Do you? I mean, just before we go, like how crazy of a player? I never thought Thiago would fit the Klopp model. When we lost, when you look at Wijnaldum and Lallana and what he did with those two, he took two wide players.
Yeah.
And, well, even the striker, Wijnaldum could play up down the middle too. But he took generally two wide players and converted them to two centre midfielders, and he turned them into hustler. And Lallana started the press. Wijnaldum was awesome, was one of my favourite players in terms of the
great.
press. Yeah, when he was great.
It was.
Yeah.
And again, that was when he left. That was a big loss too. So there you go. Starting lineup, 2-0 win from my end. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to be. It's an early kickoff for us too in Australia. It's 9:30.
Yeah, 9:30. Yeah, with the kids, I'll probably be in bed at 8 o'clock. But yeah, cool. I'll watch it. I'll watch the replay in the morning.
No,
guys, thank you so.
I'm gonna. Sorry, mate, I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, I'll be a few beers deep by then and ready to let the neighbours know I'm still alive.
Fair enough. Don't text me the result.
I won't.
Guys, please let us know your starting 11 and your predictions for the game. That would be awesome. All of your help getting our podcast off the ground is greatly appreciated. So make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Help us, share the word, spread the message, get it. If you're part of like Liverpool groups or Twitter or whatever, please, if you do share this podcast around, it would be so greatly appreciated.
It would mean a lot
Darren,
to us. Andrew.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Bye.